Welcome back to the channel. Today we are taking a look at the new Pokemon Go set, in particular the Magikarp, the Ditto and the Gyarados, to make a really cool deck in which we actually get to attack with these small Pokemon, the Magikarp, the Dittos, stuff we wouldn't normally see or get to use, we make great use of in this video. As always, if there's any deck list you want to see, any Pokemon you want to see created or used, drop them in the comments below. But let's get into this one and take a look at how the deck works. Right, so here's the list. I originally, well, obviously everyone's seen the card. They thought something was going to happen with it. It's a good card. It's got a cool attack. And also it pairs well with a Ditto. One of my friends that had just started playing wanted to play this deck. So I have been looking at it, the best ways to do it. I've seen other people online throw out some of their lists. So some of this is inspired by Andrew Mahone, Tricky Jim's list. I never run Zinnia's Resolve, but they're super good in this. So I should probably, it's worth mentioning those. Other than that, there's a few differences. I run 3 Dittos. I don't know if it's because I haven't got the 4th, but it is difficult finding space. I would probably drop the 3rd Turbo Energy and grab a 4th Ditto if you can. Obviously, Pokemon Go is just out, so I'm playing with what I've got here. I think that is the only change I would make. And then obviously we've got the Minccino, Cinccino line, so we can make do. We can throw away our Magikarps and our Gyarados. And the reason we do that is Raging Fin. So it says, this attack does 30 more damage for each Magikarp and Gyarados in your discard pile. So if you attack with this Magikarp, you can do potentially 7 to 10. With a choice belt, you can do 240. With a Hawlucha to a VMax, you can do 270. Which is ever so slightly off. Now, I don't think there's any way to get this to the knockout that you need. You can knock out, it does do 10 as well, so that's actually 280. If we use Ditto though, we can use the attack of Magikarp from the discard pile, meaning we can add that extra 30 and get to 310, which is actually crucial because it does one-hit KO Mews, it one-hit KOs Flying Pikachus, I think. Anyway, it means that we can get in range. It means that we can knock out V-Stars anyway without all of that extra stuff. It can just hit for a ton of damage very quickly. Obviously, we'll run the 4 Twin and 3 Turbo just so we can attack, as it is a double colorless. Other than that, we've got Manaphy to protect our bench. Obviously, 70 HP on Ditto and 30 on the Magikarp. There's going to be a lot of stuff that can take these out. I think once rotation hits and Inteleon and stuff is gone, this deck is going to get better. So I would love to see it have a run at a tournament. Other than that, we run the Hisuian Heavy Ball. Obviously, we need to find out all of our Magikarps if they are in our prizes. We run Peonia as well, just in case there's a few Magikarps or Gyarados and stuff we can't get out. And also Dittos. There's a lot of stuff we don't want in the prizes in this deck. Then obviously 4 Level Ball. We can search out pretty much everything other than the Gyarados in this deck. Quick Balls, again, to search out the stuff we need. Trekking Shoes helps us skip through our deck, but also throw away Magikarps and Gyarados if we need to. Rescue Carrier lets us get back those Dittos when we need them to attack again. And again, Ultra Ball is just great for discarding and finding Pokemon. So there's a ton of consistency in here, a ton of cards to search out what we need. I do think you need a Stadium in this deck. I don't know if we need 3 of them, but Temple of Sinnoh just shuts off the deck entirely. You can't play the game against it, so you do need some kind of Stadium. You could also run Pumpkaboo and then maybe Scoop Up Nets, which I actually kind of like instead of maybe the balloon. So you could do Pumpkaboo and 2 Path and then 2 Scoop Up Nets instead of Air Balloons. That probably works better, honestly. I've gone Air Balloons just because of the Cinccino. I don't really want to keep scooping that up. But yeah, a few changes I would make. Let me know which you prefer. Obviously, the rest of this stuff is fairly standard. 2 Boss, 4 Research. We've got 1 Cynthia, 2 Zinnia's Resolve, which if you don't know, you can play it if you discard 2 cards from your hand. Draw 1 for each of your opponent's Pokemon in play. Really good against Palkia and a lot of stuff that just fills its bench. We do run 3 choice belts. Something else you could probably drop to 2. I kind of like it because you do need it to make up a lot of the math. But that is the deck. Let's see how it gets on. So I've played a ton of games since recording this, probably 10, 15. And I would say going second is probably better for this deck. It's just sort of natural. It's a thing that you do normally recently in the Pokemon TCG. You just go first. Obviously going first sets them back. Obviously they want to evolve stuff. But I do think this is better going second because I played a few games where I could just donk Vs, which is insane. This deck can swing for so much so early on. Like here, I think we get 3 or 4 into the discard instantly. So we quick ball away a Gyarados. We can just grab another Magikarp, and then we can Ultra Ball those two away, and we can get set up really quickly. Obviously, we don't have the energy in this instance, but going second, we could use Peonia, we could use supporters as well. So yeah, I think going second with this deck makes sense. There's a few decks in Pokemon Go I think that works for. The Lunatone Solrock variant as well, and this Magikarp definitely. So one thing I would note on the play in this game, also, you can use the Magikarp to attack. Like in this, we need 5 for the Ditto to knock out the Charizard, I think. I think it's 150. But obviously, Magikarp hits for weakness, so we could actually do that a lot easier. So it's important to remember you can actually attack with a Magikarp if it's hitting for weakness. That's not the best Peonia. That's a cool Zinnia though. I think double turbo energy we don't really want to use. We want to try and find a twin energy. And then obviously we can use Zinnias to draw some stuff. We're probably going to have to discard some stuff we don't really want to here, which is never good, but we do need to draw cards. They've got quite a few Pokemon out, so we can just Cinccino and then discard the Magikarp, draw 2, and just discard what we draw. Unless we hit like a twin energy, I think we're fairly safe. Yeah, that's fine. We did also use a Peonia, I'm just remembering, so that'll be next turn. And I think we're alright to hold there. Their deck's not going to move too quickly either. They've only got a few cards in hand. They've evolved to a Charmeleon, so I think we're fairly safe. They're just going to burn a Leon, and it's back to us. We might as well slap down another Ditto. Discard one of those to draw more cards. So we do get the twin energy, so we can start swinging. Just what we get rid of here. So we can ditch a Ditto. We do run 2 or 3 rescue carriers, so we'll be able to get them. It just means we can swing for a bit more damage and a full knockout on a Charizard should it come up. Other than that, I think we're looking fairly good this turn. We can take our first knockout with Raging Fin. Let's see how much for. This is what I mean. We could probably swing for this our first turn if we go second. 190 damage. Just unbelievable. I really like this deck. I do think it has some merit. I don't know if we're going to see it win a tournament. Maybe like a league challenge or something like that. Well, definitely a league challenge. I'm gonna say it's the king of league challenges, where people dare play it, because I do think it is good. It can swing for big numbers. I think the Solrock Lunatone is probably better. But yeah, I do really like this deck as well. Not a terrible Marnie there. It would be nice if we could have something down to attach the twin energy to, because we might just have to Cynthia here. They will knock us out, which is good, so we can draw some more cards. Else we would have been in some trouble there, because we don't really want to research away the twin. We do only run 6-7 energy, so we have to be sort of careful with them, especially against a one prize deck, because it's going to be very difficult to get knockouts here. So we can bump the stadium. I don't know where it's worth putting a choice belt down. So we'll hold on to it. We don't really need it. We probably should have just dumped that for the extra card. So we can get a few Dittos back, and we've got tons of energy, so we're fairly good for the next few turns. It's just going to be if we can get that Minccino out of the active, which I don't think we're going to be able to. Another mistake there, just get rid of the choice belt. It's clear they're not running any V Pokemon at this point. We'll grab that and evolve, get some more cards. Don't really need, just check the deck. So we have got an air balloon in there. There is the argument of running scoop up nets in this, but I don't know. It just, yeah. Obviously air balloon's going to rotate soon, so we'll I think scoop up net does as well, to be honest. So we will need some way to deal with that. Maybe, I'm not really sure, just switches. Sounds good. I'm sure we'll get something come out to help us with retreating and stuff. So he's going to boss up, I guess, the Ditto with the energy. Okay, so he's going to take a lead now, which should make this game more interesting. He's got nothing set up though, so once we knock this out, we're in a good position. Which I don't, oh, it's 170 HP, so we do need slightly more, so we need 6 in the discard.
which is why I think maybe using Magikarp to attack in this matchup would have been better. I think Ditto can do it anyway. I don't think it's that important. So we don't need Manaphy in this matchup, so we can ditch that, grab some cards. Ditch the choice belt or one of the level balls. There's nothing we need to search out now. We do only run the 3 Ditto, and you could potentially run 4. I would maybe suggest running 4 just so you got the more attackers. Obviously with the rescue carriers you could take that down to a 2 or something if you do decide to do that, because you only need so many. So they've got another Charmander ready to go. They're going to need a rare candy, else it's not going to be set up in time. We're just going to get to take this Hawlucha or whatever they leave in the active. And we're going to, once again, pull ahead on prizes. So they're going to be behind again. I don't think they've got any way to come back into this. Obviously, we do need to hit a rescue carrier or, yeah, something to get some of our Pokemon back because we are running out now. We can Ultra Ball to see if there's any more Dittos in the deck. I think there's already 2 in the discard though. We'll have a quick look. So we can get the Gyarados out, we can get that in the discard and then draw some more cards with Make Do. That isn't the Pokemon Go Gyarados, simply I haven't got one. I think it's good to have different ones as well because there might be a very niche use for that. So there's a rescue carrier and we could have probably held that. So we are going to take a Magikarp to attack with as well. We've got plenty in the discard so we can afford to do that. And we'll slap some energy down. I think at that point there's no way he can get back into this. There's no way he can take his prizes before we do. Obviously we're swinging for 220 now. And that's with taking a Magikarp out. And yeah, this deck is just bonkers. I really like this deck. I do think it can contend with some decks. Probably not going to be the best in the format. It's probably not going to beat all the top tier decks. But I don't know. I don't know. I think it is very good. I do think there's some merit to running the new Pokestop instead of Path to the Peak as well. Because obviously that lets you discard Pokemon and keep items. So you can still find stuff out. You can still rescue carrier. You can still... all of the good stuff you need still. But you just get rid of Pokemon for free, which is always good for this deck. So I am going to try that variant. I do think it might be slightly more consistent as well. I am tempted to also try Irida in this, just so I can get certain items out with water Pokemon, so I could get a Gyarados and an Ultra Ball, for example, which I think will just speed up the strategy. It depends though, it depends on what kind of supporters we need. Most of the time, once Cinccinos are set up, we don't really need to play supporters, so maybe a one-of Irida would be nice. But here we can just swing back with a Magikarp, and I think this is a point I remembered. Water does beat fire, so 440. Yeah, we could have been swinging with Magikarp a lot earlier on. But there's the Ditto. We've got one on the bench. I think we're fairly set up here. I think we might have another energy. But yeah, he can't really do much. We've got the boss, so we're just going to pull up the Charmander here. If he passes, unless he's got it planned, he's going to shuffle back in some more Pokemon. Okay, another Charizard and a Bidoof. And a few energy. Okay. But yeah, I think we just boss here, and that is game. And that is the first victory for the Magikarp deck. It is against a Charizard Architect, which isn't really used anymore. It was never really used competitively. It's a good deck. It's another good League Challenge deck. It's something you could teach someone to use, help them build. But yeah, I think they're very similar decks. I think Magikarp is... don't think there's anything he can do. He could put another Pokemon out, but we're obviously going to knock out the Bibarel in the active with the Magikarp or Ditto. So that is round 1. I'm trying to hold for the point where we knock it out. He's still going. I don't think he realizes there's one prize left, but that is round 1. No, he's still going. I'll hold. Choice belt, of course. All the V Pokemon we've got. And that is round 1. Attack. To Magikarp and Raging Finn. Let's try it against another match. Hopefully get it against some Vs and show what it can do. Right, so in the second match, I've still not really picked up on going second. I'd still choose first just because it puts them on the disadvantage. Having played more games and having to think about it properly, I would choose to go second. You can take some big knockouts, and I think that's important. Like in this matchup, could we have got the... It's hard to say because obviously we could research there, and that's 2 in the discard instantly, and we're looking really good. Yeah, so we could probably just donk a Gengar, which is absolutely insane. And I think it's worth trying. This deck is slightly... I wouldn't say it's a top tier deck. It's a slightly memey deck. It's a slightly less powerful but fun deck. So I think you do risk those plays. And I think going second also protects you from being donked. Because so I would always go second. It protects you from being donked. It gives you a chance to donk your opponent. It just gives you the best outset for the game, really. Even if you don't knock them out, you can swing in some big damage. Or you can pull up something weaker off the bench and knock that out. So we are going to get Marnies. That is it's a rough start. Obviously, we didn't want to attach there because we weren't sure what was going to happen. There's always a chance there's hammers and stuff. So can we get out of this? I think we need to set up a Minccino. Obviously, it's tempting just to grab Magikarps, but we can quick ball away the Magikarps and then grab the Mincinos. Or a Ditto. I think it's important to set up. We will save that other level ball for a Minccino as well. I think we hold here. Yeah, I think that's the right play. Obviously, they've got nothing set up so far. Once they get going, they're going to throw a ton of energy on. Then we need to worry. I'm surprised a Marnie is here. Maybe they had nothing to play either, but I'm not sure about that play. The 2 energy... Oh, God. 2 energy, a Magikarp, and a boss's orders. There's nothing we really want to pull up. Maybe we could take a knockout on the Houndoom. I'm not sure. So they are going to single strike Roar onto the Gengar. And that can hit us for 60 and potentially put us asleep. And we are asleep. That's probably the worst that could have happened. Hawlucha is actually usable in this matchup because obviously it's going to be Gengar V. And we are going to have to just boss to stall now. So Bidoof's got 2 retreats, so we'll bring that up. If we brought up a Gengar or any of the others, he could potentially set it up that turn, so it's not really worth it. And then we've got to pass back. There is a chance he gets nothing here, and we do get the first knockout, which would be a good position. So we're doing 34. Okay, so yeah. We're not really in the position to knock out either, which is pretty devastating, but he's getting a bit of time to set up here, so it should be interesting to see how we fare against Gengar once it is set up. Obviously, he needs to put the 3rd energy on because he can't attack otherwise. His normal attack is 2 energy, but it's 60 for each V Pokemon, which we play none of. But yeah, playing Gengar enough, I remember it, but will he? The fact he's put 3 energy on makes me think he has, but also G-Max Swallow, you can't attack the next turn. So I don't think that's going to be viable against all these single strike Pokemon. Single prize Pokemon. He's single strike. So he's evolved into the coolest looking art, which is... Got to give him props for that, if nothing else. That's awesome. We are going to knock it out, though, in some way or another. We will get there. It's not looking great now, because we can't really do much damage. But Quick Ball doesn't really help. I think we just swing into the Bidoof and leave it there. We could lively group in, so we could grab Magikarp. There is a chance he then Marnies us, but this might force him to. So don't forget you do have that attack. It's a good way to get all your Magikarp in your hand, and then if you've got a research or something, you could throw them all away. In this case, we'll probably Quick Ball one away, but it does mean we can actually use that Quick Ball now. Okay, so he is going to switch in and take the knockout on our Ditto. Unless he fears and panics. Fear and panic, fear and panic. I feel like he does use fear and panic here. Obviously, I'm reacting to these afterwards just because I wanted to film as many games as possible. So he has Marnie does. I don't know if he would have done that if we didn't get the Magikarps, because obviously we had nothing to play from hand. And there we go. So we've got energy next turn. Yes. Oh my god, that is huge. That's so big. I think we need to save the air balloon to get rid of here so we can grab a Cinccino. And then we can attach to the Magikarp and research for turn, which is an amazing turn. We've then got the make do afterwards. So we've got a ton of stuff to draw here. We'll go Trekking Shoes and get Trekking Shoes. We've got another Ditto to attack with. Trekking Shoes. We've already got Choice Belt in hand, I guess, so we don't really need that one. And we can just stack up a ton of damage here. I haven't spoke about Stadium, so obviously I said Pokestop might be better, but in this matchup you've seen him discard a few Crobats, which means that it has had a massive impact. It's not always noticeable with Path to the Peak, because obviously it's stuff he's not going to use because he can't use the ability or he throws it away. But yeah, it's been very crucial in this. He's had small hands, he's had to Marnie a lot, which I think is good. I'm wondering if he has any Marnies. Okay, that's got to be the last Marnie. I don't know. He's had a Marnie every turn. That's some going. It's not the best of hands it's Marnied us into either. There's the Gmax Swallow Up for 290. A bit overkill. Only needed to do 10. Could have probably put up a Houndour or something and done that. So we need to discard a lot of cards here. So let's Trekking Shoes first. I think we're gonna Cynthia this turn, so we can attach to Ditto. Don't think we want to make do here. I would have probably grabbed a Magikarp or Gyarados first. We have got a heavy ball to see if we can hit anything. So there is a Gyarados in our prizes though, so that's worth noting. But it's tough here. I don't know. Do we Peonia? Because we could potentially hit the... Okay, so we're going to get rid of the... I think if you're going to get rid of an energy, it's got to be the Turbo. So, yeah, we can get another Cinccino online. We can Cynthia for 7, which is good. Oh, we can Cynthia for 8, which is even better. And there's another Magikarp, so let's get rid of that. And we can take the knockout this turn. We can level ball and grab more. Oh, there's the other one. We can quick ball that away if we need to. I don't think we need the extra damage, but also we don't need the Magikarp, so we might as well and grab a Ditto. And that should be enough for knockout. This is what I mean. It adds up so quickly and we're taking knockouts on VMaxes. I don't think you can lose against the VMax with this deck. Sure, they'll take a knockout, maybe 2, but you're going to get 3 prizes in return. So the trades just work so heavy in your favor. And I can't see what he's going to do here. We could probably take a 1-hit knockout or get close to that point. So we can get 8 in the discard, which is 240, 250 with the 10 from the attack. We can get to 280, 310. Yeah, so slightly out of range of the 1-hit knockout, which is... That's a shame. I would love to see that. Obviously, we can get the more important VMax Pokemon like the Pikachu, which is quite popular at the minute, and the Mew obviously being the most popular. More importantly though, we can hit V-Stars, which is what the format is based around at the minute. VMAXs are slowly phasing out, so yeah, it's important that we hit the V-Stars more than the VMAXs, but Hawlucha does help us reach those numbers. Maybe a Zigzagoon is worth playing just to hit the slightly higher numbers. Then we could use Scoop Up Nets to move stuff around instead of Air Balloons. That makes some sense to me, honestly. And then we can reuse Zigzagoons if we don't use them to pick stuff up. So he is going to Gmax Swallow Up there. Oh, I've just realised he's got 40 damage on him. So we can actually take the knockout here. So we'll make do away the Gyarados. And I think that's enough now. So that should be 240, 250. Oh, we haven't got a Choice Belt. So we can do 280. And we're also missing 1 Gyarados. Okay. I think we're slightly short here. I think we're around 250. Obviously 280 would just be enough. Oh, so the Gyarados is in there. So we can actually do this. We can Ultra Ball for the Gyarados. Oh, have we already make do? I don't think we did. I think that was a misplay. We definitely should have just got the Gyarados there. Thankfully, they need to take 4 prizes and we've got a boss's orders and they've used all their Marnies, so we can just pull up this Gengar if it retreats. So I think it's all but done, which is why I've not really not really tried to finish it. I've just sort of attacked. Not really the best way of showing a deck profile. So they are going to try and stall us. That's why, again, we've kept the air balloon in hand. So we can just retreat and take a knockout here. And Raging Fin for knockout and for game against Gengar VMax. So you've seen us play against rogue decks like Charizard. You've seen us beat VMax decks like Gengar. There's nothing Magikarp can't do.
If you've made it to this point, thank you so much for watching. Like I always say, drop any suggestions you've got in the comments below on deck profiles you want to see or Pokemon you want to see created into decks. That's all I've got for this one, so I will catch you in the next one.